Hello, and welcome to this episode of In the Principal's Office. My name is Sarita Nair, and I am the school principal of Chetan Dattaji Gaikwad English Medium School and Junior College in Pune from India. On behalf of global school leaders, I am delighted to be your host today. Usually, being called to the principal's office is a scary thing, but I hope through this series we are able to change that. Today, I'm honored to have an education activist, author, and more importantly, an exceptional father visit me in my office. I'm excited to speak to him about the leadership required for schools today. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ziauddin Yousafzai, co-founder and board member of the Malala Fund. Malala Fund is an international non-profit organization that advocates for girls' education. We also know him today fondly as Nobel Peace Prize laureate Malala Yousafzai's father and author of the book Let Her Fly. Mr. Yousafzai, welcome to the show. We are honored to have you join us today.
Thank you, Sarita Nair. It's such an honor and pleasure. I'm sitting here in Birmingham, UK, and I had been principal in Pakistan, like teacher and principal in Pakistan for 18 years. So one principal talking to another principal, principal from Pakistan speaking to principal in India. It is such a lovely thing. And as you told, my name is Ziauddin Yousafzai, and the world knows me as Malala's father as well, and I'm so proud of it. Thank you for having me in the principal office, though I'm a bit anxious, because in principal office. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to begin this conversation by looking back at your childhood in school. What was your relationship with your school principal? Did you ever get called to the principal's office?
Oh, yes, of course. Basically, I grew up in a very small village in the northwest of Pakistan in district Shamla. It's a hilly area, and the small village at the bottom of the hills had a school, a two-room school, primary school, and at some point we had no school at all, no building at all. And I did my primary school under a big tall maple tree. And those were also very most beautiful days of my school life. We had no washrooms in the school. We sat on the rugs and dusty mats. But the most important thing was education. And at that time, the primary school principal was called headmaster. He was fine, okay. But one of the teachers in the primary school, he was so fond of me. And he was so supportive because I was a little boy and very, I loved education, but I had many issues like stammering. I was dark in color, like I didn't like many things about myself. And that teacher, he put confidence in me. And really, I loved him so much that every night I wanted that let it be morning as early as possible that I can meet my teacher. So I found one great teacher in primary school. When I just moved, upgraded to the high school, I think that was a moment that really changed my life. When I started studying in high school, like about grade 5, at that time, our principal, our headmaster joined the school, and his name was Fazal Hadi. And he was such an amazing leader. He changed the whole paradigm of principalship, of headmaster role. And he started co-curricular activities and debates and drama. It was unusual in a school in a small hilly village area, but he was very keen about it. So at that time, when the principal took the leadership of the school, I joined the school. And together with my father, because my father was also a teacher and my father was a great speaker as well. And I had this, I'm mentioning this stuttering issue because it may be helpful for the principal as well as for the students who are watching us. So I wanted to be a speaker like my father, but I could not speak fluently. It was a big barrier in speaking. And I wanted to be like somebody who talk and who can communicate his message. But this barrier was a big block in my communication. So interestingly, the principal was very keen about co-curricular activities and he started debates. And then I tried to involve myself in debates. And I remember the first day when there was a speech competition and I asked my father, can you write a speech for me? Because in schools, you know, in the beginning, the teachers write the speeches and then you memorize it and then you speak it on stage. So my father was a bit shocked and surprised, but he wrote the speech for me. And I remember that when I went to the podium and I just spoke to the students and some parents, and my eyes were open, but I couldn't see anyone. I was so nervous. And when I just came back to my chair, one of the teachers came and he whispered in my ear, Ziauddin, you spread the fire. So he meant that you spoke very well. So to be short, I mean it that the principal who changed my weakness into strength was my headmaster, was my principal. Because if that principal were not there at that time when I was a student, you won't have seen Ziauddin right now speaking to you and to many people in Pakistan and the world. So really, I had many teachers and principals, but that one principal who was really a man of principles and who was really a great leader because he took community also with him. With school, he engaged the community. He used to invite influential and famous and role model people to the school. So seeing them, like one day he invited a doctor. And the doctor, he has died now, may God rest his soul in peace. But the doctor, when he came and he spoke on stage, so I had this desire and ambition in my heart that wish I can become a doctor one day. And I wish that the doctor name was Dr. Fatiman Khan. And this was my ambition for like until grade 10 and 11, 12, that, oh, will that day come that I have also a signboard, Dr. Ziauddin. So, I mean, these were the things that the principal gave us a conducive and inspiring environment where we could meet people from the community and where we had holistic activities to grow, to thrive, and to move forward.
That's amazing and so wonderful to hear your childhood memories with us and share with all our viewers. You've been a strong advocate for girls' education, beginning with your own daughter. The Malala Fund, among many things, works with educators to ensure that education systems focus on better supporting girls. We also know the state of girls' education has worsened through the pandemic. As a principal myself, I have had to work double hard to ensure girls are back in school and learning. I'm curious to hear, through your work with educators, what role do school principals play in addressing this inequity?
Thank you. It's a very important question. Basically, you know, because of pandemic, in every natural catastrophe or man-made conflict, the population that is the first victim of that natural calamity or human-made calamity is women, girls, and children. And pandemic is no exception because according to Malala Fund's statistics, I think around there is a possibility that 20 million more girls may lag behind in joining the school. So the role of everyone, like of the state authorities, of the community, and of the principal is very much important. And I personally believe that because of pandemic, like when there was at some stage was online education, so the girls were ignored in that as well, because usually when it comes to electronic equipments or smartphones, so the boys are first to take them and to use them. Is in some areas it's a social taboo as well that a girl should not use a smartphone. So girls have less access to online education than boys. And importantly, when there was a long break, so some of the girls got involved in taking care of the siblings, younger siblings, and also involved in home chores. So then parents think, okay, now why she should go back to school, which is a very bad idea. So in this situation, I think principals have a key role, because principal is really the bridge. He or she is the bridge. They are the bridge between the government and the community. So they have more power. They have more power, more influence to connect with the government authorities, to ask them for better policies, for better communication, and to reach to the community, and to involve the community. So also the principal has this opportunity to reach to the community and motivate them, inspire them to bring back the girls to school. So interestingly, I think that every principal in her own place or in his own place, they are like not just the head of the school or just leader of the school. Basically, they are supposed to be the leaders of education in that community. They're not just, I personally think that they are not limited to the premises of the school. Their area of work, goes beyond the walls of the school building. It is to the catchment area of their school community. And then they are able to involve civil society leaders, community leaders, other education campaigners. And in that way, the principal is basically an education campaigner. He also heads the management of the school, but at the same time, the principal, they also are education activists in their own way, and they lead education in their community, not just under the school, but beyond the school walls. So their role is very key, very important. And I tell it to you from my experience as a principal, because my school, or my role as a principal of Ushal School in college, was not limited to the walls of to the premises of my school. It was beyond that. I used to invite mothers. I like organize Mother Days, inviting all mothers one day and talking to them that early child marriages are harmful. They are unlawful. It's very unfortunate that you just give your hand, your daughter's hand or your son's hand into somebody's hand who don't know each other. So I try to have this conversation with mothers, and then we have Father Days, like talking to fathers that if your child goes through some change because of their adolescent age, how should you help them? So in all those topics which are about life, because in school, basically what we learn, school, we just not learn, we learn, obviously in school, we learn mathematics and science and technology and basics of languages and mathematics, but in schools, we learn life and we teach life.
Absolutely. Education is not about just books and academics. It's the all-round holistic development, and to prepare the children for their future. You have to think about making them as successful citizens of the nation as well, because they are going to build a stronger nation in the coming years. So
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing your input on that. Um, as educators, we often talk of learning, but I experienced myself unlearning so many things through the last couple of years,
Mm.
especially my understanding of leadership. Both you and Malala have also, in so many ways, challenged perceptions of leadership. Could you share what you think education leaders today need to unlearn to lead us towards a better future for all the children?
Yeah. Um, the most important thing that whenever we think of a principal, of a school leader, a school headmaster, like as I mentioned in my answer to the previous question, it's very stereotype thing. Like majority, like I will say 99% of the principal think that their role is just to run the shop, just to run the school, and just to run the business for 2 years or 3 years. And also, uh, they think of their role very limited. And when they think that their role is limited and their time is limited, then their vision is very narrow. So for me, as I told, that the principal role is very broadened, it's very wide, it's very inclusive, and it's very diverse. So for that reason, I think that the most important thing that all principals should revisit the role of the principal, not only the principals, even the education systems in Pakistan, education systems in India, they should think that what role the principal should play. Should he be just a dignified clerk in the school to run the school and to just fill the paper and to give a report? Or should he be there as a role model, inspiring leader to work on education, to educate girls and boys? So that's very important.
It was so wonderful to hear your experiences, because we need to unlearn, relearn, and learn. And that's what you have shown to the world. Coming from a strong patriotical family, and giving wings to your daughter, that's amazing for us all of us to see that.
Thank you.
You are an incredible person. I really admire you for that.
Big compliment from a principal, really. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Mr. Yousafzai, we will now move into a quick round of rapid fire. I have a set of sentences that are incomplete, and we would like for you to complete them with the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Now you are really putting me into the principal office, but it's okay. Yeah, bringing me to the principal office. Okay.
Here it goes. Then the first one is, joy in the classroom looks like.
Joy in the classroom looks like when you communicate with your students in the classroom and you teach them something new in any subject, and then you see and you feel that they have picked it up, they have got it, and you see that shine on their faces of learning something new. That is what a joy looks like.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Children today
need values to learn. The values, the beautiful values of life, empathy, amazing, equality, justice, believing in the otherness of other people, having respect for other colors, caste, creeds, faiths. Very important. Very
That's
important.
amazing. Amazing. The next one is schools in the future need to
be a place of learning, a place where we learn life, love, and coexistence.
Awesome. So the last one for you, sir. School leadership is
School leadership is key to our education system.
That was fantastic. Thank you for playing along. And finally, if you were a school principal today, what would you focus on? Any advice for all the school principals out there listening to this?
Oh, yes, of course. This is so much important. I had been principal for 18 years, and what I tried to do in my school, or what I tried to do as a leader, and what I tried to introduce was happiness. I always tried that I should, with my team together, we all should create and develop an environment of joy and happiness where every student, girl and boy, every teacher, every worker feel respected, feel valued, and feel happy. So that is the first part. The second part is, right now, we are living in this 21st century. And as I told earlier, that there is massive information, knowledge, learning available. What is missing in education systems and curriculum and daily practices of schooling are the values. You see a lot of conflicts. You see a lot of hate. We see racism. We see misogyny. Right now, almost 2.5 million girls in Afghanistan don't have access to school just because they are girls. So for me, or what is happening in Ukraine and many other parts of the world in African countries, I can't name them all, but what is missing in our education system and our curriculum are the values, imparting the beautiful values of life to our next generation.
It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you, Mr. Yousafzai. We are lucky to have people like you who think so deeply about building a safe and promising future for children around the world. We cannot thank you enough for this conversation. Pakistani educator Ziauddin Yousafzai reminds the world of a simple truth that many don't want to hear. Women and men deserve equal opportunities in education, autonomy, and independent identity. To our viewers, thank you for joining us today. As you listen to these conversations, do let us know what you think is the kind of leadership needed to build excellent schools. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. See you in our next episode of In the Principal's Office. Thank you and good day.